Ahead of World AIDS Day on December 1st, the UN has released a report saying that upholding human rights is essential for ending the AIDS pandemic. The report says human rights violations, including discrimination against girls and women and criminalization of LGBTQ+ people, obstruct efforts to end AIDS. UNAIDS Executive Director Winnie Byanyima released a report online called Take the Rights Path to End AIDS. The report says the world can meet the goal of ending AIDS by 2030 if leaders protect the human rights of everyone living with and at risk of HIV. She said advances in medicine are helping reduce new cases of HIV. But big gaps still remain in the protection of rights. When there is impunity for gender-based violence, when people can be arrested for who they are or who they love, when a visit to health services is dangerous for people because of their gender, the result is that people are blocked from care. This drives the AIDS pandemic, she said. Only rights can fix these wrongs. There is an urgent need to enact laws that protect the human rights of everyone. Zimbabwe was one of the countries hit hardest by HIV/AIDS until it introduced an AIDS levy in 1999, a 3% tax on income and business profits which is managed by the National AIDS Council. Dr. Bernard Madzima, the executive officer of the Zimbabwe National AIDS Council, said the country is aiming to end HIV as a public health threat by the end of the decade. He said the country enforces a policy of no discrimination against HIV patients. In Zimbabwe, there is no one who has been stigmatized whether they are HIV positive or whether they are HIV negative, they will get access. Our approach in HIV intervention is based on it being a public health approach, he said. So our interventions are to make sure that HIV is no longer a public health threat by 2030. Madzima said the government is also attempting to reach marginalized groups like sex workers, prison inmates, and informal minors with care. In the past, Zimbabwean authorities targeted sex workers and organizations such as Gays and Lesbians of Zimbabwe. The UNAIDS report noted that police only stopped arresting sex workers for loitering in 2015, after Zimbabwe lawyers for human rights successfully argued in court that the police conduct was illegal. The report said the move has resulted in sex workers being able to seek health services. The report commended Zimbabwe for stopping the criminalization of HIV transmission in 2022, adding that criminalization and stigmatization of marginalized communities obstruct access to life-saving HIV services.